the last month of 2018, the month of December, and the year is coming to an end. It has been either bad, good, or a better year, depending on who you talk to. Today we are analyzing and reviewing the year, and we are with a young man who has been in the media industry for the last 10 years, who is talented, from radio to TV, scripting drama, speaking at public places, hosting events, and being an MC for various local and international events. He has left the country almost a year ago, went abroad for further studies, came back, and here is with us in the studio today, and tonight rather, and we are talking about how the decade has been for him. People are talking about how 2018 has been for them, but here is a man who wants to talk about 2008 to 2018 rather. Abdinur Adan, welcome to the studio, and welcome to the Weekly Matters.
Thank you so much, Ahmed.
Before we go far, tell us, who is Abdinur first?
Well, Abdinur is a young man, just like millions of other young men and women in this country, who chose to follow his talents, pursue his passion, and in that journey has been able to be in the Kenyan entertainment and media industry. And he's a young man actually who has been able to prove that it does not matter where you come from, who you are, how you are defined, as long as you're able to be patient and persistent with your passion.
Okay, and over the last 10 years rather, from 2008 when you finished high school, almost, to now, it's 10 years. And you have been to various episodes of life, if I may use that for lack of a better word, from being a presenter. But before we come to all that, there are many who know you as that tiny, Cushitic boy, talkative, being called by your sister. But let's go now straight to the issue. You have always loved football, you have always loved presenting, and we have a lot of things to discuss today about you, but I want us to go in pace. How has it been growing up in Garissa?
Well, it has been a life of mixed experiences, coming from a family with zero media background, starting from my great-grandparents, and until me, I can say, in our family, in our locality. And looking at the area I grew up in a strict security zone, because my father used to be a government driver, a senior government driver, and he's actually been one of the drivers of one of my fellow Kenyan journalists. His father used to be one of the senior government officials, and he used to be his driver. So I grew up in a very strict neighborhood, but at a family that was promoting creativity, but at some level. I remember sometimes I used to act or pretend like a drunkard. So I will come with a soda can, and imitate the drunkards. And I was around 7-8 years. So my family saw that I was doing it so seriously. Now they ordered me to be beaten up every time I behaved that way, because they said I was actually drunk.
And they thought maybe you could end up
So actually growing up in Garissa, a multicultural setup, but then again, I really thank God, because every time I go back there, I see some of my peers, some of my colleagues, I really feel bad, because we never had the same opportunities and we never had the same exposures. So, and some actually were more privileged than me at that moment in life when I was young and growing up in Garissa. But I really thank God, because I really got the courage to leave Garissa. And in my media journey, people are telling me, do you really come from Garissa, the one in northern Kenya, or you come from Garissa, the famous shopping center in Isli, Nairobi suburb?
Okay, before you left Garissa, as you say, and began your media journey, you used to love watching football a lot.
Yes.
And people used to pay to go watch football. But you used to clean the place where people come to watch football so that you can watch the game. Tell us that part of your life.
Okay, I really don't know who betrayed me to share my story with you, but
I did
actually,
a proper search on you.
Very good,
Okay.
That's good. There's a place called Santa Barbara, and it used to be an entertainment place specifically for football, and it actually gave me the love I have for Arsenal Football Club, because the place had a large percentage was of Arsenal fans. But for me, because I was very young and tiny, actually I couldn't get the money, to afford and pay for the place. So before I went to the Quranic school, which was near that place, I will actually rise very early in the morning, accompany my mother. She goes to the market. I come there. I actually used to wake up the guys who used to sleep there overnight.
Yes.
Tell them I want to clean, kindly leave.
Get out.
And actually that cleaning, if I now look back, it looks, you know, some, you know, demeaning and some sort of not good. But then again, if I look back, at that time we actually used to compete for it. So whoever comes early and cleans the place is guaranteed an entire week of free football and entertainment. So actually I actually became part of that group, and it gave me enough exposure to football. I learned how commentaries, analysis, history of football, a lot of things through that sacrifice. And sometimes I was manipulated. I will be sent to go buy chips for, you know, the guy who was guarding the players or collecting money there, and you'll be used. You know, a client will say, I want a soda, and then you'll be sent to buy.
Because you weren't there for free.
Yeah.
And you have cleaned the place.
So
you are the first one. Anyway, let's move on. Now, you left that. Was that before you joined high school?
Yes, I was in primary school.
Yes. Now you went to high school.
Yes.
You went to school outside your town, and you turned the opportunity to join Garissa High School. Yeah. Why? And why go all the way from a place far from Garissa to join a high school and not go to Garissa High School when you had the chance, despite Garissa being, you know, the professional sort of school at that time?
Yeah. You know, my family, we've had that, and my friends, most of us, you'll go from a local school like Garissa Primary Young Muslim, then you'll go to Garissa High School, some will go to Garissa Teachers College, so you'll find like your entire life, yes, you have. So, but for me, actually one of the things that encouraged me to apply for GI High School is because I read about the school in one of these local dailies, about the history, a lot of things, and the school, you know, gave birth to great people in the region and even internationally. So one of the things that gave me the courage to apply for that school was the fact that I will get the opportunity to travel out of the town in by bus every, you know, opening of the school. Yeah, going back to school. And my brother actually was not happy with it. He was the one who went and picked my admission form, which I got after winning Wajir High School. So he was like, no, you won Wajir High School, but you're not going there. We're taking you to Garissa High School. And even my sister had said, I'll sponsor him if he's ready to go to Garissa High School. But I said, no, I don't want. I want to go to Wajir High School. And lucky enough, I never paid bus fare for my entire high school duration. So, why? Because the bus company said, due to my mom's continuous, you know, business with them, sending items to Wajir once in a while. She used to be a business lady, and because of also her character, her kindness, and her good rapport, they said, this young boy, we will be fixing him somewhere near the driver every school holiday, and he will be going with us without.
So how has it been now, schooling outside your home place for 4 years?
Yeah, it was really.
Let's take you through that journey. Yeah. What happened? Where you learned to, you know, that's. I'm sure it's a high school where you develop you discover your talent for creativity. Before we go now your media journey, take us the 4 years you have been in high school and how that has helped you, you know, discover your creativity. I
really admire the flow you're taking us through. If you could also allow me to quickly tell you, just before high school, I was at Young Muslim Primary in Garissa, where I was the face of entertainment of the school. I used to do Amira, you know, yes, this green twig, the cat, you know, I used to do drama about it. I used to do some sorts of poems, all sorts of entertainment. And anytime the school will be asked to nominate someone for a reading competition, poetry competition, entertainment, they will recommend my name. And as a result, when Young Muslim, the high school now, when it was being launched, I actually performed one of the opening, you know, part of the entertainment for the opening of the school. So that is actually one of the places I developed my talent. So when I went to high school, I went there. No, my brother used to be there, he used to study, but I only met him when I was in Form 1 because he graduated immediately. So within the school was multicultural. It was away from home. So that is where you learn survival instincts. So it's you either learn to adapt, you know, from sometimes putting hair food in margarine, you know, packaging, so that people don't come there and use your hair food. Yes. Sometimes we learned how to take the food and go on top of the dormitory. We learned a lot of survival tactics, but the other thing, it was really painful because Wajir High School was banned from drama the entire 4 years.
You were in?
Yes.
Why?
And it was done previously because there were some clashes within the schools because of drama. And I could not get a place to further my talent. And every time there was an event in the school or outside the school, since I never belonged to that place, because I came from Garissa, people had this impression that opportunity for us first, not for this young man. So every time my name is recommended or I find myself in a group, it's omitted. So here people know me as the face of entertainment, the face of creativity, but then again, there is that, it's normal, it happens when people don't accept you at first. So the more you are aggressive, the more people find to give you an opportunity so that you can be part of them. And lucky enough, in 2008, for the first time ever, the ban was removed for drama festival, and we had a play and we had a choral verse. So the play again was banned because the school said men cannot act like women. So, and actually you cannot perform a play if you don't represent the society.
Now talking of men acting women, I acted a girl in high school and I ended up all the way in Nakuru State House to act for the president.
Wow.
Because our play was selected among the best at that time, from provisional to national level.
Yeah, I'm really happy. I've also, you don't meet creative people if you're not creative. Because your net worth determines your network.
Yes.
So one thing that made me proceed was I became consistent with the choral verse team. When the teacher is out, I will coach the students, I will discipline them, not bully and beat them, and also I had good link with the teachers, with the fellow students. I was humble, but I was the youngest in the school. They used to call me Atom. Until later on when some other young guys also came, the generation changed, 12 years, 13 years, 14 years, started coming as foremen. So in the final year of the school, I went to national as part of the drama team. I went to national as part of the science congress team. I went to national competition as part of the football team. I used to carry water bottles for the school football team, carry the balls, do all those sort of stuff. But it was because of learning, using your energy, volunteering, try to help the school where you can. And I remember I was not a footballer to deserve to be part of the school team, yet the school team had 18 slots for the footballers. But the games master said, this young man has been with us since he was Form 1, and he's been with us all through, helping us. That's why I learned first aid skills. That's why I learned a lot of things in football.
Did you used to commentate? To give commentary in football in high school?
Very, very much.
Yes.
I'll roll a paper and put it here, So sometimes they'll call me idol, sometimes others will think I was crazy. Even I know we'll discuss as we proceed, as you said earlier, but it actually prepared me for a major role later, because I never knew 4 years later I'll end up where I did.
Okay, if you just joining us, you're watching the Weekly Matters, your Friday program from Horizon TV, and I'm your host Ahmed Qadab. Today we're discussing, as we said, we're ending the year, reviewing the year 2018, from politics to business, media to technology, and we're with a young man who is in the media industry, a media specialist, an analyst for that matter, and more so in the sport journalism, and we're discussing all that. But also remember, we are live on our social media platform, that is Horizontv Kenya on Facebook, also Twitter at Horizon TV, myself at Ahmed Qadar1. What's your Twitter handle?
At Abdinur.
At Abdinur. Now, coming back to you, Abdinur, before we exit, when we're going for a short break, but before we go for the break, tell us how the 4 years you have been with high school and that mimicking of commentary of football and this thing prepared your journey after high school. Before we go that, and we'll discuss that after the break. But you can start for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember I used to refer to the goats at the school compound, because of the Wajias environment, the animals were allowed into the compound because of the drought and stuff. So I will pretend like I was reporting, and there were some colleagues who had the telephone. Unfortunately, those times we never had this social media exposure people are getting. So I will say right now, whatever I watch in the TV or I read in the newspaper, I'll come and dramatize. Sometimes I'll refer to the goats as these are members of parliament who are doing this today and stuff in Swahili and English. And people will laugh. The video will be trending in the school. And
yes.
Yeah.
He used to, mimic himself as a journalist still while in high school. And today, as we said, we are just discussing the year in review. With us is Abdinur, Aden, a media specialist. Keep it there, we'll be back. Suleiman. Hello?
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
kitabu changu, Qur'ani mwongozo wangu, Qur'ani mwombezi wangu, Qur'ani pumbao langu, Qur'ani kitabu changu, Qur'ani mwongozo wangu, Qur'ani mwombezi wangu.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Welcome back to the program. If you are just joining us, we are discussing the year in review, or rather we are reviewing the year 2018, how it has been for so many people, different background, from different setups. And we have been on the Weekly Matters, the Friday night program show, for the last 15 minutes, and we're on our second segment. And with us on the studio is a young man who has been in the media industry for the last 10 years, or a decade rather, and the last 1 year he has been out of the country to further his studies and get the exposure he needs for the next stage in his life. And today he is with us on the studio. Abdinur, welcome back once again. Before we went for break, we have covered your story, the first segment of the foundation rather. Now let's go back to the things I think many will find more interesting than the previous. Now creativity. You have been preparing yourself without knowing to be that creative person you are from primary all the way to high school. Now what happened after high school? You have commentated various matches immediately after high school, and you had your big moment that was to Intolo. But before we go all that, take us, how has it been immediately after high school, and what has been keeping you a little bit busy?
In my final year, during my final year in high school, during the holiday breaks, I used to have poems, some verses, and because I was not in the every region, every county, now it's county, but previously those towns, they used to have like their network, the people they usually use for entertainment. And at that time I was not there, I was not in the program. And so I remember one day during one of these national celebrations in Garissa, I went to my brother, I told him, I have this poem I want to perform. This is a national holiday, it's really good for this day. So, because in 2007 we've had the post-election violence, and the country was, coming back together. People are building bridges, and then, so what happened? My brother was very supportive as well. He went to the director of culture and he said, "This guy is my younger brother. He's talented. He has a good poem. Imagine the event is going on. It has started. Now I'm being called aside to be auditioned. The guy says, "Ebu, soma hilo shairi tulisikie." So I performed to him. He said, "Nzuri sana, nzuri sana." May soul rest in peace, he died, Mr. Charles was his name. So he immediately added me into the program. And even the MC was surprised. He was told, "This young man is Andika Hapa." So I went there, performed, it was nice, but through that, I was able to create networks. Then there used to be these agricultural shows. So if I don't get an opportunity in the program, I'll go to the stands, different people are exhibiting their programs, their products and stuff. So I will go to them, negotiate with them. Some will give me like 500 a day, some will not pay me, but I was a crowd puller to their stands. So sometimes I will imitate what was in the main stage, in that small exhibition place. You know, there was this guy used to be the strong man, and he had a name I forgot. So I used to call my name like Abdi Hogweine,
Yes.
you know, pretending like I was able to do some funny things myself. And also there used to be a youth group, which we had, but at that time it was growing. It was called Garissa Post-Test Club. And I had my friends, Garissa Post-Test Club. So it was meant to educate students and people, the public, about HIV, AIDS and stuff. So it was a community theater, you know, participatory educational theater. And now I rose from a member to a director of the place, to one of the senior people, and I ended up being the chairman. So we used to perform for different organizations, for different people. And we also, I remember us performing for President Kibaki when he came to Garissa in 2010. I remember also myself performing for President Moi in 2002, and retired president, that is, both are retired now, in 2002 when he came there. So all this was a process. Now,
then there was a Sakata ball in
exactly.
2011.
Before we go,
Sakata ball.
yes, before we go to Sakata ball, now to finish this entertainment in Garissa, I remember sometimes there was no money to pay us. But I used that opportunity to give my friends and myself a chance to earn a living, because talent, they said, wasn't paying there. I remember I raised...
You know, they say if you're given an option to be paid in cash or in experience, there are moments in life when it matters to go for the experience.
True.
Yes.
Now mine was not experience.
Yes.
It was some sacks of rice.
Yes.
We were given 3 sacks of rice or something by the government. They said, we have no money to pay you. And we performed during Mashujaa Day. So there's no money to pay us, so they said, go sort yourself with this. And I used my network, sold the rice, and I paid all my friends. We were around 6 of us. I paid everyone the amount we agreed with, even before the rice. We never knew we would be paid with rice. So later on, there was Coca-Cola Championship in Garissa. I knew that I was too tiny to play the game. I went to the organizers. I told them I'd like to be able to, you know, commentate this event, because I remember preparing the weeks even before the competition. So when I saw billboards everywhere, I did not doubt, you know, that there will be no opportunity, but I was doubting if I will be given the opportunity. So I approached different people. Finally, there was a guy, he's called Nurdin, and he was he was the representative from Northern Kenya. So he was like also testing me if I was up for the opportunity. So what I did was I grabbed it, and the following morning I commentated. I remember during the final now, you know, all the people from the media, that was in 2009, you know, they were buzzing around me, taking photographs and stuff. They said, you will be our commentator at the national championship, which was true.
The Sakata ball or the...
Before Sakata was the Coca-Cola championship.
Yes, okay.
So I went and commentated in Nairobi the entire championship. So people are really wondering, who is that guy commentating? Because they'll see a tiny guy seated there, but the voice was different. You know, even different from the one
but
now.
you also see Spectre Mwala. And you see his...
exactly,
yeah,
but him is had the age.
So sometimes, you know, it's not about the voice, it's not about
the size.
The size is about,
true.
You know, what's above the neck.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, Alhamdulillah, later on, when I reached the Coca-Cola National Championships, I never asked for salary.
Horizon TV, Kurunzi ya Taifa.
Celebrate this holiday in style. The 21st Egypt and Middle East Expo is coming to TRM Mall, 3rd floor, from 28th November till 12th December 2018. This holiday, shop till you drop on various high-quality products such as furniture, carpets, kitchenware, leather products, handcrafts, clothes, furnishing, jewelry, perfumes, natural oils and herbs, and many more other products from Egypt, India, Iran, Pakistan, Syria, Turkey and Singapore. Hurry up and get up to 50% discount. Don't miss your chance to visit the 21st Egypt and Middle East Expo at TRM on 3rd floor from 28th November till 12th December 2018. Open daily from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. Entry is free.
You're watching Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Pay for the for commentating the event. So I was patient. I remember commentating more than 20 games.
Without pay?
Yeah, without pay.
You mean there was no budget for it?
There was a budget, but it was a painful experience because my intention was to develop my talent, and the pay was my expectation, but it was not a priority. So later on, during the final, guys brought up some speculations, some fake news, and a guy said I complained to the media that I was never paid. But I never like referring to that story because the big thing was the connections I made during that time. The proof, I remember the first game after the tournament was opened. You're at Nyayo Stadium, the grass is very green. I was used to the Garissa Primary Stadium. You find cows passing in the stadium. Yeah, motorcycles.
The ball gets out of the field, it goes to the road, someone has to pick it.
Exactly.
But
now
you're
you're seated in the official, substitutes bench. You've given your seat, your microphone, and you find the stadium, thousands are there. So what happened was I was really overwhelmed, but I enjoyed the experience there. At one moment I was intimidated by my colleague because of his energy, but then I said, mine is coming also. So I immediately switched from this Garissa tone to a national tone. Yes. And later on he will ask me, he's now, I think he's at KBC now, he's one of the famous presenters. And I still thank God because later on I went to Sakata Ball. And remember when I was in Sakata Ball, they say some people, in Kiswahili it will sound sweeter. Yes. They say,
you can still think so.
Wanasema wewe unaikataa 1000 na wengine wanaitafuta kwa basi. Umeelewa? Like somebody's trying to give you money to do a service, you're turning it down, you don't want it, but at the same time there's somebody coming from far distance for that 1,000. So when I approached the Safaricom guys and the representatives, they said, no, we have no budget for these, it's at your own expenses and cost and risk. I said, no, it's okay, it's okay. So I went to Garissa. I look for where the sound system is and where the microphone is. So I finally grabbed the opportunity. I did all the matches for free until the final game. So the final game, the organizers really felt happy, made the entire Garissa stadium full. I used to commentate politicians, tournaments, awareness weeks, a lot of things. The experience was sometimes painful, but I believe everything is preparing us for a bigger opportunity in life.
Then came 2012, the Super Sports Swahili Soccer commentary.
Yeah.
Yes, after the... And at that time, I think you somehow said it was, an opportunity, what you call the biggest opportunity at that time.
Yeah.
How has it been, to commentate the Super Sports Swahili version?
I remember I had no fare to come to Nairobi.
Which was dubbed Bonga Boli.
Yeah, I remember I had no fare to come to Nairobi. But, they are very kind-hearted people in this Nairobi, in this Kenya, in this part of the world. Sure, if you get 5 people sending you the same link, it means they have seen something in you and they are pushing you to try it. So that is when I learned also to get rid of negativity. I'll tell them, in Somali, I have no bus fare, what do I do? So a guy told me, one of the high school head teachers in Garissa, he said, please go. He said, go, I will refund your ticket, go. So I went and bargained with the bus along the streets in Garissa. I told them, please, I have this 400 shillings. And I remember the fare that one was around 700. So he said, okay, come in. But if a passenger comes, you will wake up. You will stand up, yes. So I came with the bus. I remember I got off at Karioko. From Karioko, I still called the Bongaboli organizers, told them, I'm here in Karioko, where is it? So I'll behave to them like I know where the venue is. It was at Nakumat Prestige, somewhere in Gong Road.
Yeah, Arena.
I said, I know that place. So I went to railways, took the matatu, went to the place. So I was actually the youngest there. I'll find people in suits, people have their families, and I'm the only one. It was very cold, I remember, and I had a
white... From Garissa, hot, sunny,
exactly.
environment.
And they say you either make excuses or you make progress, but I chose progress at that time. What I did was I went into the championship. But the moment the auditions were over, they never tell you and it was actually my very first audition. They never tell you it's over or we'll call you. They say next. And you go out, you go home. So what I did, I remember my number was 10003. I kept it at our home. Many people will be surprised, but we never had TV at that time.
And you bought a TV for your first money?
Yes.
As if you never had any other priority in life.
We never had, exactly. Yes. one thing that prepares you in life is what you invest in. I always invested in a telephone or in a television. I'll rather have, I'll put on some...
Why did you decide to buy TV at that time, despite your financial situation and at that time and other priorities? Why TV and not any other thing?
You know, if you want to...
What made you buy a specifically TV? Is it because of, you know, who you wanted to be, media, TV, news following, football?
Exactly, football, TV. You know, you're part of the news, but then you can't watch yourself in the news. People are telling you about the news you are in. So it looks embarrassing. So somebody asks you, Abdi Noor, congratulations. You know, I'm very happy for you. I tell him, what's wrong? What did you hear? Did I win a jackpot or what? Somebody tells you, no, you've been in the top 16. You're in the quarterfinals of the football championship, commentating championship. So people will tell me about this quarterfinal, the semi-final. Now the final is, now you find the organizers are looking for you themselves. You know, now even before the news, they call you. I remember a guy sent me an email. He said, please prepare your bio. So I wrote a very big bio, and I took it to my friend, and he edited it for me. Imagine my own story. Somebody helps me to edit it. He edited, and then we sent it back. I never knew these guys were preparing me for a newspaper column. Like, you know, this boy from Garissa. We were 4 of us. And actually, I think, apart from how I ended up in the news as a contributor, that was the very first time I ended up in news as part of a story. But before that, Ahmed Qadar, this looks surprising and painful, depending on how you look at it. Before that, I used to work for some of the local radio stations in Garissa. I was working without salary, but I was very famous in Garissa. And do you know what the salary was? Can you guess? We used to have a guy cook rice for us, lunch. And it was rice daily. There was no other diet. But it was to motivate us. I remember I used to write news from other sources, but I'll translate it into Kiswahili, but on a piece of paper. Then I'll take the same paper to have another guy who was also more experienced in media. So he will edit what I had written, and I'll go on air with that script. So people hear the news, they praise you, they do everything. But we have a responsibility to them. They never need to know about the hardship we go through to bring the news to them. So I remember the first time I made a joke about some food, and I mentioned a brand, and my colleague switched off the microphone. He said, don't mention a brand on air. So slowly...
Yeah, because if you don't, it's part of, like, you're advertising them,
yeah.
No?
So Bongaboli, to finish,
yes.
While preparing for Bongaboli, I remember we used to live in a rental house, and I will not sleep the whole night, the whole day. I'll take breaks at times. I'll do research on different parts of the field, history, read about clubs, read about players. Neighbors will come to the window and say, Warkan Muwalin, you know, is this guy crazy? But I never told them what I was preparing for. So I still say Alhamdulillah again, because it's really prepared me a lot. And when we used to stay at one of the hotels when we were preparing for the finals, I remember I used to stand up the whole night praying to God. You know, I'll tell him how far I've come, the circumstances I've done, from a guy who will want to commentate a game, and people will say, I'll say it in Somali, it sounds better, because I repeat what they used to say. They say, Shambakul Uradi, you know, prepare 500 shillings for him. He will be, you know, he will come and do it for you. But later, I remember changing the rates from 500 to 2,000 to 5,000. Some people actually will be very happy. I remember one of the, and I never used to have political alienation. I never used to believe in that. I believed I was somebody part of the society. So I was invited by everyone to do their events. And I really thank everyone who used to recommend me.
I think that's, to be honest, it's a very inspiring story, especially coming from a young man who comes from a region the media describes as the restive north, whatever that means. We'll come back. But before we go for a break, I would like to remind you that we are also live on our social media platform. That is Facebook, Horizontv Kenya, Twitter at Horizontv, myself at Ahmed Qadar. We'll be back shortly.
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa. Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.
Welcome back to the program, The Weekly Matters, and I'm your host, Ahmed Qadar. If you have just joined us, we are just reviewing the year 2018. And in the next few weeks, we'll be talking about different people to discuss 2018, how it has been. It has been a very interesting year. Some will call it a bad year, others will see it as good, and some it has been a great year for them. From politics to media, technology, to innovations, applications, and many other stuff. We'll be going to talk to different people, young people, top politicians, ulama, sheikhs, you name them. But today we are with one young man who's called Abdinur Adan, who has been in the media industry, who is a more senior journalist than I am, probably, and that's the reality. And we're discussing how it has been for him. For him, it's not about 2018, it's about a decade from 2018. Welcome back to the show, Abdinur.
Thank you, Ahmed.
And before we go for break, we know we have discussed 2 segments, so many things. Now I want us to go to our final segment. And our final segment will start from sweeping a super sport place for you to watch a game all the way working for super sports itself. You know, it must be very fascinating and interesting journey. Take us through it.
I say God has a lot of plans for us, and He only wants us to witness them. Not at our pace, but at His pace. And it's a reality because I could not believe that I was in a channel in the Supersport decoder, the DSTV Supersport, while I rose up from somebody who used to sweep a place just to watch that same Supersport. And I remember one of the kids of the place owner, the place I used to sweep, he used to call me. He say, I cannot believe. He says, I'm very happy for you. So basically, what I learned through that period was I was really learning, I was really preparing, because I remember actually, there's some episodes I skipped, but they're also important. I remember my mother actually punishing me for like 3 hours or 4 hours just because I was watching a Brazil-Cameroon match in 2003.
Yes.
So she said, why are you wasting time watching football alongside drunkards and drug users, and you want to get spoiled? And I remember
she was concerned for you know, who you associate with, is who you almost become, and you know the kind of thing that happen where people watch games, especially in Mandera, Garza, Wajir.
But again, let me tell you.
But again, it's by the grace of God that we survive those kind of things.
Yeah, and also Ahmed Qadar, as Muslim society and as generally as Kenyan, African community, Somali community, actually I'll say Muslim community in general, we have to believe in our children. We have to believe in our young people and support them, but with some limits. Because if you find somebody is along some line, don't use your mindset, your thinking, to reach a conclusion. Use your thinking to find how you can support that. This guy is going to the DSTV because of football. Okay, save some money, put a TV in the house, put a sports channel in the house.
Give your kids creativity, entertainment opportunities.
Yeah, I remember I mentioned in one of the platforms in Garissa, I said we need to encourage young people to be in entertainment and stuff. And a young man, and one of the leaders told me like, you're really planning to spoil our young children. But Ahmed Qadar, I always cry when I go to Garissa because I find the same brilliant young people carrying polythene bags packed with green twigs. We call them mokoka or something. It's really painful. Yes. You refuse to build a theater for them or a place they will develop their talents. Now you are here in a place where people have taken advantage of them, they have spoiled them. So Ahmed Qadar, there's also something, now that we've passed the Supersport part, I remember I went to Garissa Teachers College. You might never have heard about it, but I was a student at Garissa Teachers College. I applied in 2008, immediately after I got my results after 2008. And one of the reasons I joined Garissa Teachers College was to prove to the young people that this college within us is important and more deserving than wasting time outside where there are more dangerous people who are, they have no mercy for young people. So one day I remember my father refused to give me some money. I told him, I'll go to this college, I'll get a job, I'll start earning and I'll buy it for myself.
You quit teaching.
Yes, I
Why?
quit that teaching course.
Why?
There was an audition for National Youth Talent Academy. Actually, many people actually don't know about that as well. The National Youth Talent Academy was started by the government to promote young people who are talented. So there was that announcement, but nobody will tell me because I was in Garissa Teachers College preparing the schemes of work, the lesson plan and that stuff. So one day I went to the youth office myself. And the guy told me, the director of youth told me, hey, I was looking for you. There's this opportunity, you can utilize it. I said, let me try, let me give it a try. So I went to the Garissa Teachers College the following week. I distributed my books to my colleagues. I told them, I'm quitting this college.
Alas.
Yes. I remember I got a punishment for not finishing my lesson plan because I decided I'm leaving this institution. So to show respect to the institution and my integrity, what I did, the teacher punished me to clean the Garissa Teachers College kitchen, the entire dining hall and the kitchen area. I said, it's okay, sir. I went, took this powder soap, cleaned the entire place, and then I went back to him. I said, sir, I finished the work, I'm going home. He couldn't believe. The dean of students.
You could easily say, to hell with it. After all, you're going home.
Exactly.
Yes.
But the audition hadn't happened yet. So I went home. I remember my mother was really, couldn't believe I told her, Mom, I'm quitting the college. I couldn't get a way to tell her. Because in 2009, I worked during the census period. Now the entire money I got, I used it to pay my fees. Now here I'm quitting. When I went to the audition, I went to the audition with pain. I went to the audition knowing my history. I went to the audition knowing what the future holds for me. And I performed there. When it reached the results part, they didn't announce who's the winner. They gave it a moment of suspense. Then I said, because I saw one of the Garissa Teachers College teachers there, lecturers, I said, could this guy have come here and said, this boy, yeah.
Yes.
My sweat started sweating, I started trembling. And then the adjudicator said, this is one young man here who, if given the opportunity, is going to represent Northern Kenya and is going to make us proud. I swear, Ahmed Qadr, we were taken, all of us, to go to the National Youth Talent Academy.
When was that?
That was in 2010. I quit my media, my entertainment, everything. I went to the Talent Academy. Of all the people who were taken from Northern Kenya, I'm the only one who's persevered and died with his talent, survived with his talent to this moment that I got the opportunity to be with you. So that is how I left to the super sport history, this other part. I remember later I got a job at Mombasa. Mombasa was also a very funny episode. I remember I used to walk from where TSS Towers is to a place called Sabasaba, a very far place, just because of 20 shillings. The matatu used to be 40 shillings.
But 20 shillings, if you don't have it, it's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. I used to have a budget of 100 shillings per day and also doing part-time classes at Technical University of Mombasa. Exactly. So I remember there was a time I used to eat githeri every day, 40 shillings. People think these inspirational stories, Muslims don't have it. We have, we just keep them, we store them. People need to come and, share. I used to eat githeri every day, the mother.
So how has it been now, the transition from Mombasa now to the BBC?
Well, now let me tell you how it ended. This mother told me, kijana umekula githeri kila siku, si ukule hata pilau, tofauti shilingi 20. I told her, Mom, I eat pilau every dinner at home, but it was a lie, So I want to balance the diet. Githeri, I eat pilau at night. I kept on eating, and I never feared anyone. I remember there was a place I used to eat also chapati. In the morning before the program you come, you eat. They used to call it chapati kojolea, is you just buy the chapati, but you give it the soup discount, just pour it on top of it. That's the name they gave it. Yes. I know it sounds, offensive, but it's actually a respected name. I don't know how, human consumption and,
Yes.
So the BBC, I saw an advertisement in the BBC. I applied. People told me, BBC, are you dreaming?
Crazy.
You must be crazy. Ikazi, it doesn't live in Nairobi, they supply it within Nairobi.
I said, no given to their people, it's just formality, the way people are just discouraged from pursuing opportunities in life.
I went to a hotel around Nkuruma Road. I will go there, I made friends with the people. So they allowed me to use their Wi-Fi every day. I had my laptop. So I filled the BBC requirements, everything. Imagine, just before the BBC, because people killed my hopes, I got an opportunity with one of the local TV stations. Later on, it will be shut down. The TV station said I will need to get a camera and I need to be doing the reporting and the video and all myself. The money I saved to buy a camera, I was conned of that money. a day before I received my invitation for a BBC interview. Immediately I got the BBC job, the TV station was shut down. So that was God.
Sort of blessing in disguise, you know?
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Now, I want us to get out of your story.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get out of your story, my director is telling me we don't have much time.
Yeah.
And it's our last segment of
Sure,
the episode. A year ago, you quit BBC and went to Turkey.
Yes.
What have you gone to do Turkey?
Well, I went to further my studies, not the studies in the classroom. I have been in this media industry for a period where I learned a lot. But now I needed to ask myself, what additional value are you living in this media? And what do you have yourself to live it here? Turkey is one of the countries that has had progressive media, and technology, a lot of things.
Before we even come to your story, in terms of talking of the progressive, you know, we also know that how they have been feeding the world with the Khashoggi murder expose.
Exactly.
Without us going into much details.
Yeah. You know, when a country has actually a lot of structures that makes people easily access information, global information. You know, the Khashoggi story, if it was in another country, people will be saying according to unknown sources, synonymous, blah, blah, blah. But now what we've had here is the government and the media partnering to tell the world something that is of focus until a level where the whole world knows what happened, who was behind it, some of the reasons. So many journalists actually are moving to Turkey because it is a base that is giving people access to Europe, the Middle East, and also developing talents.
So how has it been for you, we don't have my time,
Yeah.
being in Turkey? What do you look forward to in 2019? Before I ask you a very important one or two questions about the youth in Northern Kenya and the pastoral community in general.
Well, I have also started another plan, that is 2018, 2028, inshallah, with Allah's blessings. Now, that period will be informing the society. We've been misinformed, we've been misled, we've been incited against each other. We've had a tremendous sad period within our country. We've had a lot of violence for no reason. So during that period, even when I was leaving my university, I wrote about public communication under devolution. What needs to be done, how structure needs to be made. Because people only hear pesa imeibiwa, but nobody asks about what is there that I can use to improve my life. What information should I access? So I'm planning to be also an international journalist, not an international based in Nairobi, but to tell the world story as a young boy from Garissa, you know, not telling stories about Garissa to the world.
Okay, you come from a region where people mostly complain, marginalization, all that now changed, devolution came, we're still complaining, the people of, especially the young people of our generation, your generation, what are you going to tell them if you were to
face that camera or what?
Yeah, which camera should you face? This one. Okay. If you were to face this camera and your parting shot, what would you tell the young man and the young girl from Northern Kenya and all over the country listening to you right now?
Yeah. Learn from the mistakes of others. You'll never be too old enough to do those mistakes yourself. And our society is full of kind people and is also full of evil people. Don't waste your energy on evil people. Look at the kind ones. There are a lot of people have been sharing my CV. I don't know them. We don't belong to the same tribe. So also be a tribeless young person. Be a young person who is for the development of other young people, and be a young person who asks himself or herself, what value am I bringing into the society? Don't think of those tenders. Don't think of being a tenderpreneur. Be a tenderpreneur, which is T-E-N-D-A. Do help people change lives. You are the change the society needs. Don't look at your circumstance today. I'm not trying to tell you about a motivation speaking or something. Don't look at your circumstance today. Look at the bigger picture. Wallahi, there are a lot of opportunities out here for us if we look at the big picture, focus on the picture, and please study where you can, when you can, and how you can. You will succeed no matter the sharks in the ocean. Be prepared to cross to the other side.